And we're good to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. SIYP Live Podcast Uncensored. How are we? David, how are you?
I'm doing good. Still in an
Good.
interesting space.
Still in an interesting space. Hazel, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Nice. We did have Hazel on the call last weekend. So, Hazel, do you want to start us off with how your last 2 weeks have been?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, you froze for a bit, so I wasn't sure if you were still talking or not, or I don't know if I froze.
It could have been me. But
Uh,
anyway,
yeah,
go ahead.
sure. Okay, so a number of things came up for me. And just so everybody knows, I was away because I was getting physio for sciatica, and it's been getting better. Um, but like, what up for me was fear, right? And um, at first it was like fear that it might not get better, and then there was also fear that came up in relations to work because one of my fellow colleagues was going to be going away on vacation for 3 weeks, and I would be covering for her. So, that there's an old tape in my head that got stuck there when that teacher told me that I was stupid. And I think I mentioned this in one of the older podcasts. Yeah, so that tape was running in my head. And for a little bit, I was listening to it. And then I was like, well, why am I listening to this? And why am I letting it control me? Right? So then I said, does it actually serve me? And the answer was no. And I said, okay, well, then let's stop. Let's stop listening to it and give it up. So then when I gave it up, the fear went away. And I actually realized how much support I've been having at work and also personally, with the physical issues I've been having. I realized how much support I've been having, and I'm like, why was I letting it, latch on to me? And and then I said, okay, no more of that. And then all the other stuff just went away, and I feel so much better now. Because there was the fear I mentioned, the resistance. Uh, gosh, there's a lot of ugly emotions that came up too.
Sounds like
And I was actually,
there's potential attachment
Mhm.
also.
yeah, 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 attachment. Yeah. And then when I gave that up, I gave up listening to that old tape, and then it went away. And then I started visioning, what could my life be? What do I want to create? And then I had forgiveness for myself and also gratitude that I could see, that this was an old tape running in my head and that I could give it up. And then there was the detachment. And yeah, it was a lot of. I also signed up for a gym. So I'm going to be doing some more physical exercise. Yeah. Yeah, of course, David. Yeah. And actually, today I have an appointment with the gym, appointment at the gym to meet with a personal trainer, and possibly I might be doing some personal training. So that's exciting and interesting, and I'm just looking forward to getting myself in better physical condition. And really, I realized really that I hadn't really been taking good care of myself physically. So then I started doing more visioning and dreaming, and you know trying to be a better version of myself to create what I actually want my physical health to be in the future. And of course, physical health ties into, mental health, emotional health, and everything. So, yeah, exciting.
And vice versa. Like when you have uh, mental health, well-being, and all of that, it can channel in your physical, so it goes together. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because we're vibrational beings, so it's just an energy that's vibrating in our bodies, so which will make us ill potentially. But
Yeah,
that's awesome that you stepped through the fear. That was great because it just well, I know what I myself when I walk through that fear just feels like the earth is trembling and the bricks are ready to fall down on top of you. But then you step through it and
yeah.
it's like is like nothing.
Yeah, and it's amazing that it had such a hold on me, and then I was letting it too. So, yeah.
This is actually really interesting stuff because when David and I had the call last week, our share was in relation to what you're sharing right now. There is fear. There is fear that comes from a point of view, a judgment in the past. And what David was also sharing last week was the power that's available from when you're just able to call out. Like Hazel, what you said, you were able to identify it's that old tape, an old tape from the past. So a judgment was created in the past, but because that judgment was playing in the form of that old tape from the teacher in school, you were able to be like, okay, this doesn't serve me. And the second you were able to identify that it's an old tape and you gave that up, everything attached to it, the fear, the attachment, the resistance, everything allowed for gratitude, forgiveness, not because like there's something wrong, but it's just forgiving yourself for having this fear take over you, which doesn't exist because you cut off the supply to that fear.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it was an external judgment, the teacher had of me, and I had accepted it, and I'm like, okay, why did I accept it, right? At the time I was just a kid, right? And now I'm an adult and I could say no, I don't accept it because I have plenty of evidence otherwise that I am not stupid as the teacher said. So,
And
I mean, I've been doing my job for like 23 years, and obviously if I'm still doing this job, then I must be doing something right, because if I wasn't doing well, then they would have gotten rid of me.
and I
So,
think I
yeah.
think another beautiful thing to highlight here is for whatever reason it happened when it happened, like the why it happened is not very significant now. Like we don't really need to go and look into the past and try to figure out why did the teacher say that or whatever. The power is just realizing that something that happened is consciously, subconsciously, for whatever reason, still real to us. And we can either in the moment choose to live in that old reality and create our new reality, or let go of the old reality because it has nothing to do with our new reality. That's the power of the choice we have stepping into now through the awareness of, okay, this happened a long time ago and 23 years have passed and I'm still here. So why am I giving that power?
Yeah, yeah. And there's no way for me to find out why the teacher did what he did. It's there's no point.
I mean, we can go into the past and find that person and just be that. But I love that you took on more the forgiveness to that moment and went into gratitude for yourself. You stepped into a better version of yourself.
Yeah, like I know the reasons why I had accepted it as a time when I was a kid, because as a kid I was taught to respect authority and, to believe authority figures, and, you know, teacher is an authority figure. And, I've since learned growing up that not all authority figures are good people. and and they also have their moments when they're not acting great to other people. So, because they're human too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm complete.
You're complete. Okay. Uh, I'll go next. I'll go next. I have some things like from what David and I were sharing last week. Also, a lot, a lot happened this week, where fear showed up, past judgment showed up, a lot of things. A lot of things showed up at work. Not so much showed up with my family, but in terms of work, a lot showed up because I'm in a current training right now with a new group of people at work, and I completed. So we started this new training on Tuesday, and Wednesday last week is when I concluded with the previous group. And a lot showed up this week because things that I learned, not necessarily mistakes, but things that I learned from what I could have done better in the previous training, I started applying in the new one. And, I try to make sure that I set up powerfully more than, like, from the mistakes I made or from the things that I could have bettered in the previous training. I started implementing that now, and I see that my judgment of the team is way less compared to who I judged the team before. I was like, oh, they're new, they don't know the project's requirements, so I need to over explain to them, and that would stress me out, and I would always try to overprotect them, and that would stress me out because they're not getting it. And now I've given up that judgment, and when I allow them to just be who they are, it's beautiful because I don't need to overprotect them from anything that I think they need protecting, because I'm just letting them be. And it's me being a better version of myself because I can actually be the trainer I want to be, which is I share the knowledge, the people receive it, because I don't see them like they don't get what I'm saying. I see them like just share the knowledge. And yes, there are still some people that have their questions. Yes, there are still some people that don't know how the project works. However, it's beautiful because they have the ability to ask me what they don't know versus me assume that they don't know, and I need to get them to know it. So it's beautiful that showed up at work. However, something happened over the last 2 days where I think I shared on the previous podcast and the one before that with Hazel also on the call. I shared that, there were some people that didn't align with the project. This was in the previous training. And some people chose to leave because the training was not for them. Some people chose to leave because the project was not for them. Some people chose to leave because they just wanted to leave. All right, this is the what so. This is actually why they left. But there was one person that had their difficulties during the previous training. And, there was a part of me, yes, this is a judgment, there was a part of me that was like, okay, they were difficult during the past training, but it's not my responsibility anymore. So I detached from that, and I was like, okay, they left, they graduated, they passed, they are performing in the project. I do me, they do them. However, in the last 2 days, what actually happened was this one person sent me a message. And this one person was like, uh, we need to talk because everything that happened in the training, the way you treated me, the way you are manipulative, the way you are, all of these things, all of these accusations just came at me. And, I actually looked into the word accusation, and the definition of an accusation is saying something that is not based on facts. Like, there's no evidence to it, but you think it's true. So, what I like to do with an accusation is I'm not going to challenge the person and say, you're full of shit. I'm just going to be like, where's the evidence? If there's no evidence, I feel I'm justified in the definition of an accusation that it's an accusation. So I'm not going to give it power because there is no evidence. You give me evidence, and then I could say that's not an accusation, that's reality. But there was no evidence about what this person was saying from the previous training. And, this person just came at me and said, I'm satanic trainer. I'm a dumbass, manipulating, and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, the person did reach out. The person did reach out on our work channels of communication and said they wanted to speak to me. And I was like, I would love to, but I can't because I'm in another training. So, yes, I was their trainer, but now I'm in another training. And this person, yes, I am in another judgment. It's like, for me, who this person is, in my observation, was someone that, wants to get their point across, but then at the same time, if I was not receiving what they were dishing out, they would be attacking. Like, again, consciously, subconsciously, I don't know what they're going through, but maybe I did say some things like, I feel bad for you and I pray for you, in my point of view. But, then later on, I find out that this person decided to leave the company. So I went into my judgments also, like Hazel, I went into my judgments, and when I found out this person had left the company and now is saying all of these things to me, I went into my judgment of, now this person's talking big because they've left and they want to have the final say. So with all of that, while this was happening, while this person was writing in full capital letters to me, throwing out all of these accusations, I did say, well, at least I have people in my life that like me. I don't think you like me, but I have people in my life that like me. This person was like, yeah, I don't think your mom likes you. And I was like, okay. Like, while this was happening to me, I was really upset. I had a headache. I wanted to say more things. I was really at the impact of what this person was saying. And later on, my fiance comes home, and it was actually really beautiful because while I was rereading everything that this person said to me, to my fiance, you know, what I wanted to do is I wanted to tell Rebecca, I wanted to tell my fiance, look at what happened so that I could share my anger. But it was beautiful. While I was reading back what this person was saying, I was saying it laughing, but not like I wanted to mock the person. While I was reading it, I'm just like, the craziness of this. So I just read it again, which was really beautiful. I think me stepping into not ego, but me stepping into like, does this really serve me? And I was reading it, I was laughing because I'm like, this is absurd. And I was like, what was even absurd is I allowed that to connect with past judgments that I received, whether deserving or undeserving. I allowed that to get me to be frustrated. So while I was reading everything this person said, I was just like laughing at it, but not to make fun, was just like, that's how crazy it was. And it was beautiful because I was like, how could I allow that to question who I am? Like, I literally thought there was a fear that now, if this person's talking about me, maybe they've gone to like higher power, maybe they're going to ruin my reputation, maybe it's going to do all of this. But Hazel, you just said you've been doing this for 23 years. So it was beautiful because I was like, how could I let that do that to me? Just people saying something, I attached a meaning to it subconsciously. In that moment, I was like, F this person. But now I'm just like, this is so funny. It was really funny to me. So that happened over the last 2 days, and I just feel one thing I want to say before I'm complete. Um, I think the more we go into this transformation, there might be more things that constantly have us go into a better version of ourselves. Like maybe more things will show up, and it's not a good or a bad thing, but it's just something that like the more we call ourselves out on these fears or things that are from the past and we give it up, we literally see that it has nothing to do with who we are now in our power. Like it's things in the past. Why did it happen? Okay, it happened, but it has nothing to do with who we choose to be in this moment. And I think that's just beauty. And yeah, that's my week. It was really interesting. But while it was happening, I wanted to shoot someone. I wanted to be like, fuck this person and everything. It's our show. We can swear. That was there, and then just reading it again. I think me in my power allowed me to read it again and be like, this has no right or any control over who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyways.
I just wanted to say, you because at one point you were saying, why did I allow this to affect me? And I would say because we're human. Because most of us like the idea of being liked by other people, but we can't control what other people think of us. So, you know,
Yeah. I am
yeah, that was
complete.
cool though. Thanks, Asian.
Thank you.
A- And I always find too that we need to go through things. So that's actually a way of that's for you, Zeshan, that would have been a way of the past for you to do things. Like I think a lot of your club friends and stuff, I think it kind of ended, the relationships ended similarly as well. I kind of remember. I'm not too sure.
Hmm.
So this was actually you just stepping through that and seeing it for what it truly is. And then when you were actually so you were actually in it with you're ready to like to kill a guy or whatever, and then all of a sudden you've spoken to Rebecca, your fiance, and then and then you realize how ridiculous this is, and then you saw the ridiculousness. So you actually were a different being when you went through it the second time, and that was with your fiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a purging of stuff, right?
Yeah, and I think the more we go into the realm of transformation, it's like we reduce the time that we remain under the impact of something, under the influence of something. The more that we are stepping into better versions of ourselves, it's not going to be like years. Some people go years without understanding what is holding them back. But the more you're able to be aware of what's going on, you reduce that impact, and it just gets shorter and shorter and shorter, where you can free yourself from things you don't even realize are holding you back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
It's
David.
just like when King Solomon took those four demons away from me, and then they all came back, and I actually had to go through all of them. I tried to actually push them away, but they were like, "No,
We're
you're
not done
going,
yet.
you're going to be going through me." I'm like, "Okay." And then I found out, I really discovered how boring they were. I was like, "Okay." And then and then they don't bother you anymore. So the same thing. And I actually went for the job interview on Monday,
Nice.
and it was spectacular.
Wait, what job interview? I
I
know.
so there was a job fair for Cintas. They sell janitorial supplies and stuff. And I walked up there, and the man walked towards me, and he shook my hand and introduced himself to me. He goes, "Here, let me walk you to the front door." And I was like, "Oh, that's very, very nice." And he opens up the door and it's just like, oh, there's coffee and donuts. Help yourself. And I'm like, oh, nice. Okay, I love donuts. And then I go to the donut box, and then all of a sudden I see this lady standing in front of me. And she goes, hi, my name's so and so, and I'm going to be interviewing you today. I'm like, oh, okay, nice. And then when I got to the interview, it was just like, I controlled the interview process. I took control of it. I immediately pointed out my landmark training and told her about all the landmark training programs I did and how wonderful they were. And she was mentioning that she was starting to do her transformational process, and we
Mm.
started talking about that and stuff. She didn't make a lot of notes, so I kind of figured she maybe didn't think I was a good fit, but I don't know. It felt really good. I had a great conversation with her,
Mm-hmm.
and truthfully, I wouldn't have been a good fit because the training is for 10 weeks. And
Mm.
my mom is asking me if I want to go to Florida again next year. So chances are I will be going to Florida again if I don't have a partner or anything else in my life. Then yeah, why not go to Florida? It's warmer there in the winter than it is here in the summer. So
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
feels like I've come to Canada to cool down. But it was just a great experience. And I noticed that the last time I got interviewed was 10 years ago. And it was in the same area that I got interviewed for this other job. So it was just almost for me to step through that because the last time I got interviewed, I was just after the interview, it was just like, oh man, you're so stupid. You're such an idiot. You can't even get a job looking after a pool. What kind of idiot are you? Blah, blah, blah. All that kind of crap. And that's why I ended up going with Uber because Uber will take everybody. You got a pulse and you can drive? Okay, there you go. So it was like I needed to go through that and to see myself in a different light in that process. And so in that light, it was absolutely beautiful. And then I got the email because I thought for sure I got the job. But then the next day, I got an email saying that I wasn't chosen, and I had to deal with that as well because it was just kind of like the rejection hits, and it's like, wait a minute, why? What am I being rejected for? Like, this is just a job that not really. All I wanted for is to pay my rent. That's it. And I want to build my other practice. And that's probably why she knew. Like it's just like she probably knew this wasn't for me. Because she told me in the interview, she goes, hopefully someday I'll be as calm as you. And I thought that was actually just a beautiful thing because now I can experience myself through someone else's eyes. And that was really wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't matter if I got the job or not. So I'm also going to be starting a doTERRA,
What's
which
that?
is doTERRA is
Mm.
essential oils.
Oh,
So I'm going to
right.
be an
Yeah.
essential oils rep,
Right.
and we're going to be using iridology scans.
Oh,
So
yeah.
take a scan of the iris of your face, and then it actually lets you know what's happening with your body, and then which essential oils would actually help improve. So so I'm going to be using that to get people more used to me as a shaman, as a shamanic healer. So that's exciting, and I got two people who are already interested. So um, and then my friend in Florida, she was having some issues with spirits and stuff. She's on an old uh what was it? Ground that had slaves and stuff on it and stuff like that years ago. And she
Oh.
said herself that she was burnt at the stake actually on the property herself in another lifetime. And so she was like kind of getting possessed by these
Oh, the
entities.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I did a session for her, and then part of the session I was just like, okay, I'm in way over my head, but I was like, not really. This is actually who I am. So,
Mm-hmm.
and everything just was beautiful. We actually released a lot of spirits from the land, a lot of spirits, and it's just like super calm now. So I really got to see myself in that light of the healer. So that was really, really wonderful. And what else happened? Oh yeah, and her spirit mother. was just like, oh, I'm going to do something for you. That was very nice of you. And so I don't know. I'm going to see what happens. Maybe my rent will get paid. That would be great.
One
Just putting
thing,
that out there.
one thing I just really want to acknowledge you for, and I think like from everything you're sharing, there's a lot of self-acknowledgement also in you going through whatever you have to go through. Um, because like I think all of us have our own obstacles, ups and downs, and our own journeys and everything, but there is something we can all relate to in our versions of our obstacles. And one thing that I just want to acknowledge you from the last podcast we did, it's just how your point of view is so clear on in the past it was like even the interview the same area and everything you still allowed yourself to go through it where a lot of us might probably see that be confronted subconsciously hold ourselves back like a lot of people that might be listening to this could relate to what you're saying. But what's really beautiful in the acknowledgement is you see it and you allow yourself to go through it. Which a lot of people are like, no, I'm going to protect myself. Oh, fear, danger, danger. I'm not going to do this because I need to protect myself. But there's so much beauty, even in the rejection. There's beauty there because you are not controlled by the rejection. You could be if you make the rejection mean something from the past. But you just letting that go, what was the rejection? It's an opportunity for you to now tap into anything else.
Yeah. Because if we
I
don't if
wouldn't.
we don't go through it, then we get stuck in it. And if
Yeah.
we are always protecting ourselves from it, then we're always going to be protecting ourselves from it. So we can't move from that space.
Mhm.
So it'll always be there and it'll always pop up. But you're going to say something, Hazel.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that I didn't even think of it as a rejection, as it was more like it was not a vibrational match. Like it just wasn't an energy match.
Exactly, because that's not who I truly am. And you know what? It would have been a great gig actually. Because she asked me, she goes, "So why would you like Cintas?" And I was like, "Yeah, it seems like a pretty sweet gig. You just kind of like driving around. You meet different people, you don't get stuck in office politics. It's actually not bad." And then you go home. But yeah, it's just when we actually allow ourselves to go through and just release what there is to release, and then it's almost magical, really.
Hmm.
And it's not magic, it's just releasing. It's just we've allowed something to go. It's just like when we're holding on to a balloon with helium. If we keep holding on to that balloon's going to stay with us, whether that's balloon has fear or hatred or whatever written on it. But when we actually choose just to release that balloon, then it floats away and it doesn't come back.
And there's beauty in that release. Like there's literally this lightness. It's just like literally for me, choosing to detach myself from it made me feel fun, happy, like versus anger, headache, confusion. Letting it go. It was
Hmm.
like while I was laughing at it, I'm just like, this is so ridiculous. But while it was happening, I'm just like who the hell is this person? Like what traumas are they going in their life? Like it was creating a version of myself that I didn't like who I was in my judgment to that person. But then when I read it again, I'm like, okay, that person is that person. I am me. We're separate.
Yeah. And I've also been listening to this song as well called by it's called Lifeboat by Ray. I think it's Raye. They're awesome. And it's all the song is basically I'm never giving up, never give up, never give up. And I would actually be singing the song while I woke up in the waking up in the morning. I caught myself singing. I was like, oh wow, this is really ingrained in me. But never wanting to give up is also holding on to something as well.
Mm.
So sometimes we need to let go of that and just to release ourselves from never giving up to, okay, well, let's do what we can, and maybe it's for me to release my apartment as well and just let whatever happens happens, and yeah, just release and be in that space of release. And I think I'm complete. Is there anything else that happened this week?
you, you don't
Oh,
look
did I tell
sure.
did I tell you last week that I was always oh no, because I figured this out on Sunday night. I was just like, I'm always looking for a savior. And religion always teaches us
Mm.
that you must look for a savior, and that savior is Jesus Christ. It has to be Jesus Christ, or you're going to the pit of hell. But no,
Depending
I
which
am.
religion, yes.
Yeah, that's true. If you go to a different one, it's a different person. You have to be,
Exactly.
there's your savior.
Mm.
So I was just like, wait a minute. I'm always looking for people to save me. I'm looking for my mom to help me with my finances. I'm looking for someone else to help me with clients. But that's me looking for my salvation from someone else.
Mm.
I'm the salvation of me. There's no one else. I'm the one that has to save me. So I'm my own savior. And that's what I really discovered on Sunday night. And yeah, I didn't tell you guys that at all. So I just thought that was really beautiful. I mentioned it to so I've been speaking with the psychotherapist every week, just about what he's creating about a product called Love Dakota. And he was just like, I told him what I was doing. He goes, I'm doing the same thing.
You guys could work together. Oh, we're
Because
running
I'm
out of
doing
time.
exactly the same thing. I hated money so much that I actually just pushed it away.
So
And I was looking for other people to be a savior. So, anyways, I'm complete.
you're complete. We got less than a minute, but I think this was a good share.
Hmm.
Same time next
Oh
week,
yeah.
everyone.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. Have a great weekend, everyone.
You
yeah, you
too.
too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.